گرویی زین حدیث عاقبت سستر کنم، خنده مستانه ای زین تلخی نابشرا، اشک دل فریاد مستانه به نامش پر کنم. یاد بادا ساقیا آن روی همچو هورا، آن نگاه احمد در احمق مشهور را. خنده بی مثل او بر دل دکانی هم زده، پرن کرده در دل و مغز و روانم تو را. جستش همچو پری زیبا خرامان دلبرک، چشمکش مانند پتگیر قلب عاشق را ترک، لب نشان روی مهرویان همی دارد به رخ، گیسوان چون کمندش فاصله عاشق درک.
Good evening, everybody. Let me just try and get, oh my God, to move my chair in a little bit. Let's see how we do. That's a little bit easier. Voila. I'm going to be rocking backwards and forwards on my chair today. Hello. I don't know what happened there. I'm so sorry, everybody. And if you heard me swear, I have a feeling, I've got a new phone, and I have a feeling that where my phone hangs now is exactly on the button that you turn the phone on and off with, and it does strange things. So be very careful how I touch it. So I'm going to turn this music off, I think, if that's okay, although it's very beautiful. And I maybe will turn it on again later and let you watch the fire and listen to some beautiful music from Kamyab Saderi. My name is Joanna Godwin-Seidl. I am your host for this evening, and it is the last reading of 1001 Nights before we go into our seasonal holiday. And in Austria, the Christians amongst us will be celebrating Christmas. And so we are taking a well-deserved Christmas break, because actually we have not stopped reading, I think, every week since the very first lockdown in Austria, when we started this little adventure in March 2020. So in March 2020, Samantha and I started reading, and we have not had an official break since then. So now, lo and behold, we are going to go into a seasonal Christmas holiday break and be back with you in January. In the meantime, I have a couple of announcements to make. So don't fear, because we will not be away completely over the holiday period. A couple of things are going to be happening. For those of you who watched us towards the very beginning of our reading sessions in lockdown in March 2020, and it might have been in April, writer Robert Pym did a couple of readings for us of two of his books. One of them, he did a whole reading of one of his short stories, Hotel Stories, and the other one, he read some chapters of his new book, Blood Summit, that had come out just at that time. Hi, good evening, everybody. Hello, Andreas. Hi, Grace. It's so lovely to see you all here this evening. Hi, Chaudhry. And Robert Pym is going to be reading for us, hopefully, if we can sort it all out, on the 22nd of December. So that's just before Christmas Eve, the European, I shouldn't say European, I should say the Christian Christmas Eve. Robert Pym is going to be reading for us on the 22nd of December. Some of, again, I believe from his new book, some of the chapters, or maybe from, I think he's got some new Corona stories actually in his Hotel Stories. So he might be reading from them, but we will tell you all about it once I've spoken to him and found out more. And I will do a couple of readings for you over the holiday season, something seasonal and holiday-ish, only two of them. They won't be 1001 Nights though. So, once again, my name is Joanna Godwin-Seidl. I am your host for this evening. Very welcome, warm welcome to my beautiful hearth fire, which unfortunately, which just exploded like a volcano, which unfortunately you can't smell, but I can, and it does smell very, very beautiful. And without further ado, I am going to start reading for you. Oh, and another thing, if you are in Vienna, there is going to be a lockdown after Christmas until the 18th of January, by the way. And after that, Vienna Theatre Project, the company I run, goes into rehearsals, and we will be performing The Mountaintop, a beautiful, very moving, very funny, brilliantly acted play. We had standing ovations when we performed it the first time in February 2020. We're going to be doing it again after popular demand in February 2021. The actors, David Warawa, who is a multi-award winning actor, and Kudra Owens, had standing ovations every performance that they played. So do make sure you come and watch that in the Drachengasse in February 2021. And we're hoping, if we can't get it to go live because of lockdowns, whatever, that maybe we'll be able to live stream it, but I have to talk to the guys about that. And also, if you do enjoy our readings, we have been doing this for no money since March 2020. Please, please, please do donate to us. I've worked out one of my lights has broken down again this evening. So we need money to pay for our bits and our bobs. So www.paypal.me, www.paypal.me/Vienna Theatre Project, and theatre is spelled R-E, Vienna Theatre Project. Please do donate to us on PayPal. You can do it from your own account. You can do it with a credit card, however you like. We would be extremely grateful for every little bit of money that you can get. And on my new phone, for some reason, I get the sparkle of the fire. Isn't that fantastic? And maybe afterwards, I will show you a little bit around my living room, because we had decorated a little bit, but I finished decorating my living room for the season's holidays this year. I don't have a Christmas tree because we decided not to get one. I might still get a small one, but I do have some decorations that maybe I'll show you them later. Anyway, without further ado, we are going to read the 250th night. And excuse me, because I am going to go and get the rest of my glass of wine, because I really do want to drink that. And good evening, everybody. Drink a very superior glass of Austrian wine. Isn't that fire burning so beautifully? How fantastic. So, 1001 Nights. When it was the 150th night, Scheherazade said, "It has reached me, O auspicious king, that Shams al-Din said to his wife, 'Thou art the cause of my vexation.' She said, 'Wherefore?' And he answered, 'When I opened my shop this morning, I saw that each and every of the merchants had with him a son, or 2 sons, or more, sitting in their shops like their fathers. And I said to myself, He who took thy sire will not spare thee. Now, the night I first visited thee, thou madest me swear that I would never take a second wife over thee, nor a concubine, Abyssinian or Greek, or handmaid of other race, nor would I lie a single night away from thee. And behold, thou art barren. And having thee is like boring into a rock.' Rejoined she, 'Allah is my witness, that fault lies with thee, for that thy seed is thin.' He asked, 'And what showeth the man whose semen is thin?' And she answered, 'He cannot get women with child, nor beget children.' Quoth he, 'What thickeneth the seed? Tell me, and I will buy it happily, if it will thicken mine.' Quoth she, 'Enquire for it of the druggists.' So he slept with her that night, and arose on the morrow repenting of having spoken angrily to her. And she also regretted her cross words. Then he went to the market, and finding a druggist, saluted him, and when his salutation was returned, said to him, 'Say, hast thou with thee a seed thickener?' And he replied, 'I had it, but am out of it. Enquire thou of my neighbour.' Then Shams al-Din made the round till he had asked every one, but they all laughed at him, and presently he returned to his shop and sat down. Saul, troubled. Now, there was in the bazaar a man who was deputy syndic of the brokers, and was given to the use of opium and electuary and green hashish. He was called Sheikh Mohammed Samsam, and being poor, he used to wish Shams al-Din good morrow every day. So he came to him according to his custom and saluted him. The merchant returned his salute, but in ill temper, and the other, seeing him vexed, said, 'O my lord, what hath crossed thee?' Thereupon Shams al-Din told him all that had occurred between himself and his wife, adding, 'These 40 years have I been married to her, yet hath she borne me neither son nor daughter. And they say, the cause of thy failure to get her with child is the thinness of thy seed. So I have been seeking a something wherewith to thicken my semen, but found it not.' Quoth Sheikh Mohammed, 'O my lord, I have a seed thickener, But what wilt thou say to him who causeth thy wife to conceive by thee after these 40 years have passed? Answered the merchant, If thou do this, I will work thy weal and reward thee. Then give me a dinar, replied the broker. And Shams al-Din said, Take these 2 dinars. He took them and said, Give me also yonder big bowl of porcelain. So he gave it to him, and the broker betook himself to a hashish seller, of whom he bought 2 ounces of concentrated Romi opium, and equal parts of Chinese cubebs, cinnamon, cloves, cardamoms, ginger, white pepper, and mountain skink. And pounding them all together, boiled them in sweet olive oil. After which he added 3 ounces of male frankincense in fragments and a cupful of coriander seed, and macerating the whole, made it into a lectuary with roomy bee honey. Then he put the confection in the bowl and carried it to the merchant, to whom he delivered it, saying, Here is the seed thickener, and the manner of using it is this. Take of my electuary with a spoon after supping, and wash it down with a sherbet made of rose conserve. But first sup off mutton and house pigeon plentifully seasoned and hotly spiced. So the merchant bought all this and sent the meat and pigeons to his wife, saying, Dress them deftly, and lay up the seed thickener until I want it and call for it. She did his bidding, and when she served up the meats, he ate the evening meal, after which he called for the bowl and ate of the electuary. It pleased him well, so he ate the rest and knew his wife. That very night she conceived by him, and after 3 months her courses ceased, no blood came from her, and she knew she was with child. When the days of her pregnancy were accomplished, the pangs of labour took her, and delivered her with difficulty. When the days of pregnancy were accomplished, the pangs of labour took her, and they raised loud lully-looings and cries of joy. The midwife delivered with her with difficulty by pronouncing over the boy at his birth the names of Muhammad and Ali, and said, Allah is most great. And she called in his ear the call to prayer. Then she wrapped him up and passed him to his mother, who took him and gave him the breast, and he sucked and was full and slept. The midwife abode with them for 3 days, till they had made the mothering cakes of sugared bread and sweetmeats, and they distributed them on the 7th day. Then they sprinkled the salt against the evil eye, and the merchant, going in to his wife, gave her joy of her safe delivery and said, Where is Allah's deposit? So they brought him a babe of surpassing beauty, the handiwork of the orderer, who is ever present, and though he was but 7 days old, those who saw him would have deemed him a yearling child. So the merchant looked on his face, and seeing it like a shining full moon, with moles on either cheek, said to his wife, What hast thou named him? Answered she, If it were a girl, I had named her, but this is a boy, so none shall name him but thou. Now, the people of that time used to name their children by omens, and whilst the merchant and his wife were taking counsel of the name, behold, one said to his friend, Ho, my lord, Ala al-Din. Sound familiar? So the merchant said, We shall call him Ala al-Din, Abu Al Shamat. Then he committed the child to the nurse, and he drank milk for 2 years, after which they weaned him and grew up, and he grew up, and throve and walked upon the floor. When he came to 7 years old, they put him in a chamber under a trap door, for fear of the evil eye. And his father said, "He shall not come out till his beard grow." So he gave him in charge to a handmaid and a servant, and the girl dressed him his meals, and the servant carried them to him. Then his father circumcised him and made him a great feast. After which he brought him a doctor of the law, who taught him to write and read and repeat the Quran and other arts and sciences, till he became a good scholar and an accomplished. One day it so came to pass that the servant, after bringing him the tray of food, went away and left the trapdoor open. So Ala al-Din came forth from the vault and went in to his mother, with whom he was a company of women of rank. And as they sat talking, behold, it came upon them that the youth, as were a white slave drunken for the excess of his beauty. And when they saw him, they veiled their faces and said to his mother, "Allah requite thee, O such a one! How canst thou let this strange Mameluke in upon us? Knowest thou not that the modesty is a point of the faith?" She replied, "Pronounce Allah's name, and Bismillah, this is my son, and the fruit of my victuals, and the heir of Consul Shams al-Din, and the child of the nurse, and the collar of the crust and the crumb." Quoth they, "Never in our days knew we that thou hast a son." And quoth she, "Verily, his father is feared for him in the evil eye, and reared him in an underground chamber." And Shahrazad perceived the dawn of day, and ceased saying her permitted say. And I am going to carry on with the next night in 2 seconds. I'm just going to turn that fire around before it goes out. Hopefully I am able to save it just in time, and make sure that, oh dear, that's not looking good, guys. Make sure that this carries on burning. Let's see what we can do here. See how it goes. Let's see. Let me just go and get another little kindling bits of wood. See, this is the joy of live readings, everyone. But we really do want to keep this going. So I'm just going to do that and cheat a little bit and make sure that this fire doesn't go out, because we really do want to enjoy that, don't we? Right. Okay. I think we're going to have a fire again. Et voila, one burning fire. So, now, when it was, excuse me, the 151st night, Shahrazad said, It has reached me, O auspicious king, that Aladdin's mother said to her lady friends, verily, his father is feared for him and the evil eye, and reared him in an underground chamber. And haply the servant forgot to shut the door, and he fared forth. But we did not mean that he should come out before his beard was grown. The women gave her joy of him, and the youth went out from them into the courtyard, where he seated himself in the open sitting room. And behold, in came the slaves with his father's she-mule. And he said to them, whence cometh this mule? Quoth they, we escorted thy father when riding her to the shop, and we have brought her back. He asked, what may be my father's trade? And they answered, thy father is consul of the merchants in the land of Egypt, and sultan of the sons of the Arabs. Then he went into his mother, and he said to her, O my mother, what is my father's trade? Said she, O my son, thy sire is a merchant and consul of the merchants in the land of Egypt, and the sultans of the sons of the Arabs. His slaves consult him, not in selling aught whose price is less than 1,000 gold pieces, but merchandise worth him 100, unless they sell at their own discretion. Nor doth any merchandise, whatever little or muchel, leave the country without passing through his hands, and he disposeth of it as he pleaseth. Nor is a bale packed, sent abroad amongst folk, but what is under his disposal. And Almighty Allah, O my son, hath given thy father monies past compt. He rejoined, O my mother, praised be Allah, that I am the son of the Sultan of the sons of the Arabs, and that my father is consul of the merchants. But why, O my mother, do ye put me in the underground chamber, and leave me prisoner there? Quoth she, O my son, we imprisoned thee not say for fear of the folks' eyes. The evil eye is a truth, and most of those in their long homes are its victims. Quoth he, O my mother, where is a refuge place against fate? Verily care never made destiny forbear, nor is there flight from what is written for every wight. He who took my grandfather will not spare myself nor my father, for though he live today, he shall not live tomorrow. And when my father dieth, and I come forth and say, I am Ala al-Din, son of Shams al-Din the merchant, none of the people will believe me, but men of years and standing will say, in our lives, say we nor saw nor son or a daughter of Shams al-Din. Then the public treasury will come down and take my father's estate, and Allah have mercy on him who said, the noble dieth, and his wealth passeth away, and the meanest of men take his women. Therefore, O my mother, speak thou to my father, that he carry me with him to the bazaar, and open for me a shop. So may I sit there with him and my merchandise, and teach me to buy and sell and take and give. Answered his mother, O my son, as soon as thy sire returneth, I will tell him this. And so, when the merchant came home, he found his son, Ala al-Din Abu Al Shamat, sitting with his mother, and said to her, why hast thou brought him forth of the underground chamber? She replied, O son of my uncle, it was not that I brought him out, but the servants forgot to shut the door, and left it open. So, as I sat with a company of women of rank, behold, he came forth, and walked in to me. Then she went on to repeat to him his son's words. So he said, O my son, tomorrow, inshallah, I will take thee with me to the bazaar. But my boy, sitting in markets and shops, demandeth good manners and cautious carriage in all conditions. Ala al-Din passed the night rejoicing in his father's promise, and when the morrow came, the merchant carried him to the hammam and clad him in a suit worth a mint of money. As soon as they had broken their fast and drunk their sherbets, Shams al-Din mounted his she-mule and, putting his son upon another, rode to the market, followed by his boy. But when the market folk saw their consul making towards them, foregoing a youth as he were a slice of the full moon on the 14th night, they said one to the other, See thou yonder boy behind the council of the merchants? Verily, we thought well of him, but he is like the leek, grey of head and green at heart. And Sheikh Mohammed Sam, deputy syndicate of the market, the man before mentioned, said to the dealers, O merchants, we will not take the like of him for our sheikh. No, never. Now, it was the custom, anent the consul, when he came from his house of a morning, to sit down in his shop, for the deputy syndicate of the market to go and recite to him and to all the merchants assembled around him the Fatiha, or opening chapter of the Quran. After which they accosted him one by one and wished him good morning and went away each to his business place. But when Shams al-Din seated himself in his shop that day as usual, the traders came not to him as he customed. So he called the deputy and said to him, Why come not the merchants together as usual? Answered Mohammed Sam, Oh, I know not how to tell thee of their troubles, for they have agreed to depose thee from the sheikhship of the market and to recite the Fatiha to thee no more. Asked Shams al-Din, What may be their reason? And asked the deputy, What boy is this that sitteth by thy side, and thou a man of years and chief of the merchants? Is this lad a Mameluke, or akin to thy wife? Verily, I think thou lovest him, and inclinest lewdly to the boy. Thereupon the council cried out at him, saying, Silence! Allah curse thee! Genus and species, this is my son! Rejoined the deputy, Never in our born days have we seen thee with a son. And Shams al-Din answered, When thou gavest me the seed thickener, my wife conceived and bare this youth, where I reared him in a souterrain for fear of the evil eye. Nor was it my purpose that he should come forth till he could take his beard in his hand. However, his mother would not agree to this, and he on his own part begged I would stock him a shop and teach him to sell and buy. So the deputy syndic returned to the other traders and acquainted them with the truth of the case. Whereupon they all arose to accompany him, and going in a body to Shams al-Din's shop, stood before him and recited the opener of the Quran. After which they gave him joy of his son and said to him, The Lord prosper root and branch. But even the poorest of us, when son or daughter is born to him, needs must cook a panful of custard and bid his friends and kith and kin. Yet hast thou done none of this? Quoth he, This I owe you. Be our meeting in the garden. And Shahrazad perceived the dawn of day and ceased saying her permitted say. I'm going to read you one more chapter, folks. Connection problems. I'm very sorry, everybody. My internet has not been working brilliantly this evening, I have to admit, but it looks like we're okay. So, now, when it was the 252nd night, her sister Dunya Azad said to her, "Pray, continue thy story for us, and thou be awake and not inclined to sleep." Quoth she, "With pleasure and goodwill. It have reached me, O auspicious king, that the council of the merchants promised them a banquet and said, 'Be our meeting in the garden.' So when morning dawned, he dispatched the carpet layer to the saloon of the garden pavilion and bade him furnish the two. Moreover, he sent thither all that was needful for cooking, such as sheep and clarified butter, and so forth, according to the requirements of the case, and spread 2 tables, one in the pavilion and one in the saloon. Then Shams al-Din and his boy girded themselves, and he said to Ala al-Din, "O my son, whenas a greybeard entereth, I will meet him and seat him at the table in the pavilion. And do thou, in like manner, receive the beardless youths and seat them at the table in the saloon." He asked, "O my father, why dost thou spread 2 tables, one for men and another for youths?" And he answered, "O my son, the beardless is ashamed to eat with the bearded." And his sons thought this his answer full and sufficient. So, when the merchants arrived, Shams al-Din received the men and seated them in the pavilion, whilst Ala al-Din received the youths and seated them in the saloon. Then the food was set on, and the guests ate and drank and made merry, and sat over their wine whilst the attendants perfumed them with the smoke of scented woods, and the elders fell to conversing of matters of science and traditions of the Prophet. Now, there was one amongst them, a merchant called Mahmud of Balkh, a professing Muslim, but at heart a Magian, a man of lewd and mischievous life, who loved boys. And when he saw Ala al-Din, from whose father he used to buy stuffs and merchandise, one sight of his face sent him 1,000 sighs, and Satan dangled the jewel before his eyes, so that he was taken with love, longing, and desire and affection, and his heart was filled with mad passion for him. Presently he arose and made for the youths, who stood up to receive him. And at this moment, Ala al-Din, being taken with an urgent call for nature, withdrew to make water. Whereupon Mahmud turned to the other youths and said to them, "If ye will incline Ala al-Din's mind to journeying with me, I will give each of you a dress worth a power of money." Then he returned from them to the men's party, and as the youths were sitting, Ala al-Din returned suddenly back, when all rose to receive him and seated him in the place of highest honour. Presently, one of them said to his neighbour, "O my lord Hassan, tell me, whence came to thee the capital wherein thou tradest?" And he replied, "When I grew up and came to a man's estate, I said to my sire, 'O my father, give me merchandise.' Quoth he, 'O my son, I have none by thee, but go thou to some merchant and take of him money and traffic with him, and so learn to buy and sell and give and take.' So I went to one of the traders and borrowed of him 1,000 dinars, wherewith I bought stuffs, and carrying them to Damascus, sold them there at profit of 2 for 1. Then I bought Syrian stuffs, and carrying them to Aleppo, made a similar gain of them, after which I bought some stuffs of Aleppo and repaired with them to Baghdad, where I sold them with like result 2 for 1. nor did I cease trading upon my capital till I was worth nigh 10,000 ducats. Then each of the others told his friends some such tale, till it came to Ala al-Din's turn to speak. And when they said to him, "And thou, O my lord, Ala al-Din?" quoth he, well, I was brought up in a chamber underground, and came forth from it only this week. And I do but go to the shop and return home from the shop. They remarked, "Thou art used to one at home, and wottest not the joys of travel, for travel is for men only." He replied, "No, I reck not of voyaging, and wayfaring doth not tempt me." Whereupon quoth one to the other, "This one is like a fish. When he leaveth the water, he dieth." Then they said to him, "O Ala al-Din, the glory of the sons of the merchants is not but in travel for the sake of gain." Their talk angered him. So he left them, weeping-eyed and heavy-hearted, and mounting his mule, returned home. Now his mother saw him in tears and in bad temper, and asked him, "What hath made thee weep, O my son?" And he answered, "Of a truth, all the sons of the merchants put me to shame, and said naught is more glorious for a merchant's son than travel for gain, and to get him gold." And Shahrazad perceived the dawn of day and ceased saying her permitted say. Right, how are we doing? I haven't got my computer open, so I can't check the time. Let me see how much the next one is. What do you reckon, folks? Another page or not? What time is it? Oh, it's 21:45 already. My goodness, good evening, Tim. How are you? Hi, Marina. Hi, Omar. Hi, Roshana. Hi, and I'm sorry, I'm probably going to say this wrong. Hi, Katazina. It's very nice. It sounds like a little bit like the British Katerina or the Austrian Katerina as well. How are you guys doing tonight? I hope you're all very, very well. It's an absolute pleasure reading for you, and I am going to take a little sip of my tea and then carry on with the 153rd night. How's that fire doing? Well, it's getting there, isn't it? It's burning okay. Maybe we can do we put one more log on or leave it as it is? I think we'll leave it as it is. And then the problem with this fireplace is we have a thermostat where I live, and when the fire is burning, the thermostat tells the rest of our home that the house is really warm. So what happens is the heating turns itself off, and the rest of our home unfortunately becomes a little bit cold. So for your pleasure, my family's getting cold, guys, and it is a little bit low, isn't it? Let's see what we can do with this fire. The joys of fire burning, folks. Do this, and hopefully we're going to get that log going as well, and then it'll be really special, huh? It's like Christmas. I don't know if you can see, I've got loads of beautiful decorations up everywhere, which is really, really lovely. Oh, that looks nice, doesn't it? Okay, a little slurp of my wine, and then we can carry on. tell you what, actually, give me 2 seconds and I will be back with you. Please don't go away. Enjoy the fire burning. You can still hear me talking. And I will be back with you in 2 seconds. Sorry, I just got a little... Sorry about that little refill of my wine, folks. I hope you're all having a nice cup of tea and enjoying a nice drink as you listen to me and watch my beautiful fire. Oh, wow. That's worked really well, hasn't it? Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? Fantastic. I'm so happy I did that. Okay, well, that's going to give us the energy to read another night, right? So, now, when it was the 133rd night, Shahrazad said, "It has reached me, O auspicious king, that Ala al-Din said to his mother, of a truth all the sons of the merchants put me to shame and said, naught is more honourable for a merchant's son than travel for gain. O my son, hast thou a mind to travel? Even so. And whither wilt thou go? To the city of Baghdad, for there folk make double the cost price on their goods. O my son, thy father is a very rich man, and if he provide thee not with merchandise, I will supply it out of my own monies. The best favour is that which is soonest bestowed. If this kindness is to be, now is the time." So she called the slaves and sent them for cloth packers. Then, opening a storehouse, brought out 10 loads of stuff, which they made up into bales for him. Such was his case. But as regards the father Shams al-Din, he looked about and failed to find Ala al-Din in the garden, and inquiring after him was told that he had mounted mule and gone home. So he too mounted and followed him. Now, when he entered the house, he saw his bales ready bound and asked what they were. Whereupon his wife told him what had chanced between Ala al-Din and the sons of the merchants. And he cried, "O my son, Allah's malison on travel and strangerhood. Verily, Allah's apostle, whom the Lord bless and preserve, hath said, it is of a man's happy fortune that he eat his daily bread in his own land. And it was said of the ancients, leave travel, though but for a mile." Then quoth he to his son, "Say, art thou indeed resolved to travel, and wilt thou not turn back from it?" Quoth the other, "There is no help for it, but that I journey to Baghdad with merchandise, else will I doff cloths and don dervish gear, and fare a wandering over the world." Shams al-Din rejoined, "I am no penniless pauper, but have great plenty of wealth." Then he showed him all he owned of monies and stuffs and stock in train, and observed, "With me are stuffs and merchandise befitting every country in the world." Then he showed him among the rest 40 bales ready bound with the price, 1,000 dinars written on each, and said, "O my son, take these 40 loads together with the 10 which thy mother gave thee, and set out under the safeguard of Almighty Allah. But, O my child, I fear there is a certain wood in thy way, called the Lion's Copse, and a valley height the Vale of Dogs, for their lives are lost without mercy." He said, How so, O my father?" And he replied, "Because of a Badawi bandit named Ajlan." Quoth Ala al-Din, "Such is Allah's luck. If any share of it be mine, no harm shall hap to me." Then they rode to the cattle bazaar, where, behold, a cameleer alighted from his she-mule, and kissing the consul's hand, said to him, "O my lord, it is long, by Allah, since thou hast employed us in the way of business." He replied, "Every time hath its fortune and its men, and Allah have truth on him," and said, "And the old men crept o'er the worldly ways, so bowed his head o'er his knees down floweth. Quoth I, what gars these so doubled go? Quoth he, as to me his hands he showeth. My youth is lost, in the dust it lieth, and see, I bend me to find my youth." Now, when he had ended his verses, he said, "O chief of the caravan, it is not I who am minded to travel, but this, my son." Quoth the cameleer, "Allah save him for thee." Then the consul made a contract between Ala al-Din and the man, appointed that the youth should be to him as a son, and gave him into his charge, saying, "Take these 100 gold pieces for thy people." Moreover, he bought his son 80 mules and a lamp, and a tomb covering for the Sayyid Abd al-Qadir of Gilan, and said to him, "O my son, while I am absent, this is thy sire in my stead. Whatsoever he biddeth thee, do thou obey him." So saying, he returned home with the mules and the servants, and that night they made a khitmah, or prediction of the Quran, and held a festival in honor of the Sheikh Abd al-Qadir al-Jilani. And when the morrow dawned, the consul gave his son 10,000 dinars, saying, "O my son, when thou comest to Baghdad, if thou find stuffs easy for sale, sell them. But if they be dull, spend these dinars." Then they loaded the mules, and taking leave of one another, all the wayfarers setting out on their journey marched forth from the city. Now, Mahmud al-Balkh had made ready his own venture for Baghdad, and had moved his bales and set up his tents without the walls, saying in himself, "Thou shalt not enjoy this youth but in the desert, where there is neither spy nor marplot to trouble thee." It chanced that he had in hand 1,000 dinars, which he owed to the youth's father, the balance of a business transaction between them. So he went and bade farewell to the consul, who charged him, "Give the 1,000 dinars to my son, Ala al-Din," commended the lad to his care, and commended the lad to his care, saying, "He is at were it were my son." Accordingly, Ala al-Din joined company with Mahmud of Balkh. And Shahrazad perceived the dawn of day and ceased saying her permitted say. So, Ala al-Din is in dangerous hands, everybody, because I'm so terrible with names already. I've forgotten it. He's with Mahmud of Balkh, who has a predilection for young boys, right? So that's not necessarily a good thing, I think. And he's going to attempt to accost him in the desert. And we're not going to find out what happens until after New Year, I think, because Saman and I are going to continue reading the 1001 Night Stories after New Year. It has been, since March, an absolute pleasure reading for you. We've had a phenomenally strange year in 2020. None of us can deny this, but Saman and I were very happy to be able to entertain you and hopefully keep your spirits up with our readings. It certainly helped us actually keep our spirits up and continue to do something productive while we've been locked down or not been able to go out, and while it's been not a good thing to go in company with many people, while the bars and restaurants weren't open. They did open for a short time, obviously in Austria at least, over summer, but they've been closed again for the last, is it 2 months at least already, or 3 months even? So we hope at least that we've been able to entertain you wherever you are, all over the world in these somewhat bizarre times. I am working on other productions myself, actually, as I'm doing this in the evenings, and working on it during the day as well, because obviously we have been organizing our special readings, which we had with many, many, many thanks to the, thank you very much for the heart, thank you very much, with many thanks to Shakespeare and Company in Vienna, who hosted us twice for our special readings, which we always have when either it's a new book, or the first one was when it was 100th page. That seemed to be a milestone for us, because we never expected, we didn't have any idea to begin with that we were going to start reading the whole book. We just said, I called up Samantha and said, I'm going to read in lockdown. And she said, what are you going to read? And I said, well, you know, I think I'm going to read 1001 Nights, because I don't have to worry about the rights for it. So I think I'm going to do that. And she went, oh my goodness, I was thinking of reading that in German. So we decided to read it together through my company, through Vienna Theatre Project. And that's what we've been done. And then when our first lockdown finished, we got together and said, well, let's continue reading. And now we're going to be reading, hopefully, if we can get it together, although it is it's a long, long time already. We've read over 1,000 pages so far. We are on the 4th book already. So that's March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. We've been reading 1001 Nights for 10 months already. Can you believe that? 10 months we have been reading 1001 Nights. And excuse me a minute while I just bend down and put some music on while I'm chatting to you. So let me get this back. I'm just going to start it from the beginning. So yeah, Saman and I have been reading this for 10 months now already. And our aim is, if we can do, of course we don't know what life will bring, but our aim is certainly to try and read the whole book if we can. And I think we've got 700 and something pages to go. So that's going to be until about 2025. We are on the story, in case you haven't noticed. It sounds like it's the story of Aladdin, as he's called in the English language, Ala al-Din. And yeah, it's been a real pleasure. So don't forget, please, if you do enjoy what you're listening to, do support us. It's very difficult for actors and entertainers, directors. I'm also a director. I'm a director and an actor, actually, where a lot of our businesses have been closed down, and we are no longer able to earn money through theatre and film quite often. So www.paypal.me/Vienna Theatre Project. We'll be very, very grateful for any donations that you can give. And 22nd, oh, you're a bit loud. So 22nd of the 12th, Robert Pym will be reading to you. He's a beautifully sold author, and he's going to be reading to you. I don't know actually what yet. We didn't talk about what he's going to be reading, either from his short hotel stories or from his newest political thriller, and they're really fantastic books, which you can also buy if you're in Vienna. at Shakespeare and Company, or you can buy them, I believe, over Amazon or any of the usual bookshops. As our reading of 1001 Nights for this year has come to a close, I would like to thank everyone who has supported us this year so far. I would like to thank Saman, of course, with whom it has been an absolute pleasure to go on this journey together. We've learned an awful lot about each other. It's been beautiful and challenging and demanding and unexpected, and we have been so lucky to make some really wonderful experiences as a result of this. I would like to thank Ina and Thomas Photography, who have taken some beautiful photographs of us at some of our special readings, particularly, for example, the last one, which we did at the Palais Hansen Kempinski, who I would also like to particularly thank. We have done 2 very beautiful special readings at the Palais Hansen Kempinski, and you can watch those online. Still, you can watch all of our videos online on Facebook. They're all still loaded on the Facebook page. You can also, for friends who don't have Facebook or family who doesn't have Facebook, if you would like them to watch our stories, you can see how we've developed from the very beginning to where we are now. Now we have special lights and everything which we invested in. But you can see all of the videos. Also, we load them up on YouTube. So anybody who doesn't have Facebook or doesn't like Facebook and would like to watch them on YouTube, you can go ahead and watch all of our readings so far on YouTube. They're all loaded up on www.youtube.com/Vienna Theatre Project, and just go to the 1001 Nights folder. So a huge thanks to Ina and Thomas Photography. A huge thanks to the Palais Hansen Kempinski. It's a beautiful hotel. If ever you are in Vienna and you can afford to splash out a bit, make sure you go to the Palais Hansen Kempinski. It's on the ring. It's very much towards the center of town. It's in the first district. It's 10 minutes walk into the center of town where the Stephansdom is. It's a beautiful area. The canal, the Donau Canal, is just at the bottom there. There's loads of gorgeous restaurants around the hotel. The tram is right outside the front door, so you can get to places really, really easily. The underground is right outside, and it's got a beautiful spa area as well. By the way, I happen to know because before the lockdown, I'd actually been to their spa area once. Huge thanks also to Shakespeare and Company Bookshop, which is in the Bermuda Triangle. If you like books, reading books in the English language, it's an emporium. It's one of those beautiful old bookshops where every shelf is every corner, the floor, everything that a book can stand on is packed with books. And then you go through to the back. It's got this lovely children's and teenager and young adults bookshop as well. So a really, really beautiful bookshop in the city, in the very center, old cobbled streets and everything, bars all around it in Vienna city center. Do go to them as well. So Ina, Shakespeare and Company, Palais Hansen. We would like to thank our first dresser for our very first special reading. Our second special reading, and that was Imatu for her beautiful dresses. Great thanks for that. Huge thanks also to Tiberius of Vienna. These are haute couture fashion designers, Tiberius of Vienna, Marcos Valenzuela Abril. Gracias, Bachis, love you. Thank you very much for your beautiful, beautiful dresses, which we were able to wear at our first reading at the Palais Hansen Kempinski. Also, a thank you to Maurizio Giambra of Maurizio Giambra Fashion. Beautiful dresses, which we got to wear just last weekend when we did our special reading. It was a really, really beautiful occasion, a beautiful moment. You can see all of the photographs from all of our readings and all that fashion and all those locations. You can check out in our photographs and in our special readings. And then a particularly huge thanks also to Kanyab Sadiri, who I met over a year ago when I was invited to a concert which he gave in the first district. We met each other the very first time then. And then one day I sat with Saman and we agreed that we needed some music. And I said, let me call a few people up and ask them if they would be interested. And Kamyab answered my call, and we went and met for coffee in the Cafe Corb and ended up having the loveliest of evenings together. And this is the music, all the beautiful music that we've been playing since then is written by Kamyab, who studied at the conservatory in Tehran until he came to Vienna to study at the renowned university here. He is a composer, he is a conductor, he plays the piano, he plays the tar, he plays other instruments as well. I think I can't count how many instruments they are and how talented he is, but he's a beautiful, not only is he an incredibly gifted human being, he's also a very humble and very beautiful human being. And we are very, very grateful that he agreed to compose music for our 1001 Nights readings, and we are actually having an album. What a treat is that, right? An album created for us. So I've said so many thanks, and if you stayed on to listen to all of my thanks, then thank you very, very much. What I'm going to do now is what I've been doing every evening so far. If I don't see you before January, I want to wish you all a beautiful rest of your December and beginning of January. I will post on the Vienna Theatre Project page when I am going to be maybe reading a Christmas group of stories and maybe a Happy New Year group of stories for the Western New Year. And so do join me for certainly 2 times. Unless I get bored, I am definitely going to come online and read some stories for you all. So do watch out for when those will be. I will post them on my page and on the Vienna Theatre Project page. I'm going to leave you with Kamyab's beautiful music. I'm going to wish you many, many, many blessings. It has been an absolute pleasure to read these beautiful stories for you. We never expected them to be so beautiful. We thought they would be innocent and easy and sweet, and they have been wild and crazy and full of dangerous jinns and love and happiness and death and sadness and rape and sex and palaces and sand and magic and just everything. And it's so wonderful to read these gorgeous stories. I really am. I can say it's an absolute privilege. An absolute privilege. So, dear friends, do look after yourselves. Wherever you are in the world, I hope you're keeping very, very safe. And from me and my humble fire, I wish you many blessings, season's greetings. I'm going to turn off all the lights. I'm going to bring the camera closer to the fire. And I am now going to let you listen to Kamyab playing his beautiful music. So I might start it from the beginning again, okay? And before I forget, everybody, a huge thank you also to Bijan. I suddenly realized I hadn't remembered to say thank you to him, who's been accompanying Kamyab on this beautiful journey, playing the guitar for us. So thank you also, Bijan. Enjoy the music and the fire, everybody. Blessings. Goodbye. Many salams.
ساقیا پیمانه پر کن که باید سر کنم من گلوی زین حدیث عاقبت سستر کنم خنده مستانه ای زین تلخی ناب شراب اشک دل فریاد مستانه به نامش برکنم یاد بادا یاد بادا یاد بادا ساقیا آن روی همچو هورا آن نگاه اغلده در احمق مشهور را خنده بی مثل او بر دل دکانی هم زده پنهان کرده در دل و مغز و روانم تو را جستش همچو پری زیبا خرامان دلبرک چشمکش مانند پتکی قلب عاشق را ترک لب نشان روی مهرویان همی دارد به رخ گیسوان چون کمندش فاصله عاشق درک دیدمش من روز اول دیدمش من روز اول یک نصد دل دادمش جلوه‌ای از عشق رسوا نهانم دادمش لیک چشم ظالم و عاشق کشش را بسانه